Hi everyone, it's Karen here with a new step-by-step tutorial where I created inspirational backgrounds using the Crafters Workshop stencils and Brusho Crystal colors. Enjoy! I took a watercolor paper from an A4 paper pad and split it into four. Then I took the well-rounded 12x12 stencil from the Crafters Workshop and using some Prima Finnabair 3D gloss gel, I created some patterns in the background. I wanted to experiment with the Brusho Crystal colors and combine them with different mediums. For the second background, I took some Prima Finnabair modeling paste and used the same stencil, the well-rounded stencil, to create a different pattern using the paste. I really wanted to see how the Brusho crystals react with different mediums, as some of them absorb the color and others repel it like a resist. The third medium I used was golden glass bead gel. I put it through the Crafters Workshop Organic Matter Mask 12x12 stencil, and I wanted to see how it would react with the Brusho crystals. For the last paper, I didn't want to use the medium first, but the Brushos. So I took the big box of 24 colored brushes that I had bought, and I sprinkled them on the paper to create the background. Brusho crystal comes in little containers that you can open up and sprinkle on your backgrounds, and that's exactly what I did on my first video linked above. And then somebody suggested that I should poke holes in the actual containers. This was a great idea as it helped sprinkle the Brusho crystals much easier. However, I decided after that it was easier if I would put them in small spray bottles. They look like nasal sprays and you can squeeze them and some of the powder comes out, and it's much easier to control the amount of powder that comes out. So I've kept some of them in the original packaging with a little poked hole, and I also have some in these nasal spray bottles, and I usually show both ways so people can see the difference between the two techniques. After I had dried my background a little bit, I wanted to create a little bit of a mottled effect in the background. So once it was dry, I sprayed a few droplets of water on the dried Brusho background and then wiped it with a paper towel to create that really nice mottled effect. To create some more pattern on this last paper, I took the 12x12, the Crafters Workshop Sea Bubble stencil, and used white heavy gesso from Prima to create the texture. All you have to do to use the Brusho crystals is to sprinkle some on a watercolor paper or any type of paper, and then either use a paintbrush or just spray some water and make it spread around. Here I sprinkled some colors on my first original paper with the gel medium once it was dry, and then I dried it with some paper towel. I save these paper towels and dry them so I can use them in other projects, like the one linked above, where I actually use the tie-dye kind of background to create a separate background on another project. For the second background with the modeling paste, I sprinkled some yellow and green Brusho Crystal colors and I sprayed a lot of water to mix them together. I love spraying and combining a few colors at once because I love how they mix together and interlace into each other. Some of the Brusho crystal colors are made up of combined colors, and when you spray them onto a background, they mix all together and create a very cool effect. For this last one with the glass bead gel, I also sprinkled some yellow and green colors, but the green took over. Even though the yellow was the first color I added, the green kind of mixed and overpowered everything. However, it really gave it a really nice effect. You can see here I'm using the original tubs that comes with the Brusho Colours, and you can see that I poked a hole in them, but the only problem with that is that once you poke a hole, you can't protect it if it spills, so it could spill easier than with those new bottles that I used. I really wanted to create some white splatters in the background, so I took some of the white gesso and diluted it with water. Then I took a Tim Holtz splatter brush and started splattering in the background. However, the splatters were not big enough for what I wanted, so I took the Ecoline watercolor in white and dipped my splatter brush in it, and then it gave me the splatters that I really wanted. I really wanted to highlight some of the stenciled areas, so I took my white Posca pen acrylic marker and I highlighted around all the different designs in my background. As I'm highlighting the different stencils, I can talk about the different effects that happen with the different mediums. The 3D gel medium reacted with the watercolor Brusho crystal mixture. In the very thin areas, it mixed and absorbed the color, but in the thicker areas, it actually repelled it. So the more gel medium there was, the more of a resist happened on the paper. The modeling paste on the second one didn't act as a resist. It just looks like an embossed raised area, which is what modeling paste is supposed to do. It absorbed the color in some areas, but it still looks like an embossing effect. With the third one, the Brusho crystals did get absorbed into the glass bead gel. They actually absorbed it themselves into the gel, but you can still see the bead texture sticking out and creating that really textured pattern in the background. On the last one, the stenciled white gesso is very prominent because it was put after we had dried the background from the Brusho crystals. However, because the gesso is water-based, it did absorb a little bit of the Brusho crystal mixture. Finally, I took some wooden words that I bought at Michael's and I embossed them in Blue Fern Studios Snow Embossing Powder. I used some of the Distressed Dabber from Ranger to be able to emboss them into white. Finally, I added and glued the words onto each background because I really wanted to have some inspirational messages on each one. Thank you so much for watching and joining me as I experiment with Brusho Crystal colors and the Crafters Workshop stencils, along with many different mediums both from Prima and Golden. Bye!